So Joe Judge, Daniel Jones, Dave Gettleman, and the New York Giants. What do you think happens, Levi? I'm think Joe Judge is now 4-9 this year, 10-19 overall. I've been wanting them to get rid of Daniel Jones for last little while now, at least for the last year. And it's starting to look like reports are coming out of New York. Joe Judge is going to get another year. Dave Gettleman could possibly, I see that less likely. Giants have 2 first-round picks this year. Both are likely in the top 10, and they have 11 picks overall. They have Joe Judge can fix this team next year and save his job with the New York Giants, which when he came in, he was loving. He seemed to really care about, and he was a really compassionate coach. And so I'd like to see him be able to stay with the Giants. But I don't think he is going to risk his last year in New York with all these draft picks, with this opportunity to turn things around on Daniel Jones, who in 3 seasons has showed us athleticism, but has not showed us much more than that.
Oh yeah, Joe Judge has had overall a mediocre year. It's a little bit of a stretch as far as the QB position, but I wouldn't be insanely surprised if Russell Wilson, maybe it lands in
I
New
would love
York.
it.
Yeah, the New York Giants, I feel like would be a great team for him. It's either that or the Broncos. And honestly,
That's yeah,
if the Packers lose this season,
yeah.
it wouldn't surprise me to see Aaron Rodgers maybe go to Denver as
I agree
well.
with you. No, I think for Aaron, I think Denver, Pittsburgh, or San Francisco. But San Francisco, they have Trey Lance now.
Yeah, they have a future in him. I just think, honestly, the Denver Broncos is probably the best place besides Green Bay for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you there. But I didn't even think about that. Giants having 11 draft picks and Daniel Jones, they could easily trade for Russell Wilson.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And the Seahawks know that Russ is getting fed up. And he's been injured this year, so who knows what would have happened down that stretch if he would have
Hell,
played
I
those
would be
games.
fed up.
Yeah, he has a terrible line. He has no run game, and he only has 2 targets. DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. That's the soul of their
No,
offense.
Pete did not plan for the future. Pete Carroll, in my opinion, is out after this year.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's kind of coming to a natural end like it did for him in USC. It's just he's not adapting his game. I talked about it last week. Belichick and Nick Saban are masters at adapting and changing the way they play football. Look at the game plan Bill Belichick installed against the Buffalo Bills. Belichick is a
Yeah,
master
he's
at
just
game
a
planning,
mastermind.
and but Pete Carroll plays the same way. He goes for the same things each year, and he hasn't changed up.
Hmm.
The league is not the same that it was even 5 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, from 2015 till now, the Seahawks. They've gone positive every year, but it just seems that down the stretch, they just don't have enough offensive power
Yeah, I would
to
agree
do
with
anything.
I'd agree with you. And Russell Wilson hurried up, came back as quick as he could. Where they said he was rehabbing 22 hours a day, waking up and doing it at night, all this stuff.
Yeah,
So very impressive. I'm sad to see us Russell. I would like to see Russell get traded, but also I'd rather see Pete Carroll be gone, Russell get a new coach, them rebuild Seattle.
yeah, because he already has two top wide receivers that
Yeah.
are good targets for him, and it'd be sad to see him have to leave that.
Yeah, DK is just great. DK's kind of having a down year this year, but DK Metcalf's just too big, too strong, too good of a receiver.
Yeah, he's still a great receiver, but he had targets from what's his name,
Gino.
the backup quarter. Yeah, Geno Smith. Yeah, having to get targets from him, and not Russell Wilson for a few games. Obviously your numbers would be down. So same with Tyler Lockett.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, their record's down because of Gino, but I was glad. I was happy to see Geno Smith get another chance. I remember him on the Jets back in 2014. He was
Yeah.
playing good. So Levi, you're my NBA guy. We're gonna transfer over to NBA a little bit. You
Certainly,
watch
let's
more
go.
NBA than I do. I get really into the NBA come playoff time. Playoff NBA is the best. Like the last
It
15
really is.
games of the regular season and playoff basketball. Oh my god. It's so you're rooting for everything to go to game 7. Like it
Yeah,
is
that's
just
pretty much how it is.
it's such a good time. And the big question I wanted to ask you is the Warriors are sitting right now second in the West, 24-5. Do you think now, being 2 years without Klay Thompson, he could potentially, the dates are getting released. Earliest is January 3rd. It's not likely. Likely date for his return is January 9th. Do you think Klay Thompson coming back might affect this amazing flow that Golden State has going for him right now?
I think it'll definitely take him some time to get back into the offensive flow of the game. But Klay Thompson is just such a prime defensive player. I feel like whatever he doesn't, make up for on the offensive side, he'll make up for on the defensive side. But I don't think it'll take him that long to come back. I mean, it's just going to be interesting to see if Klay Thompson is still that same insanely good Klay Thompson that he was 2 years ago. It's just going to be something really interesting to see.
And how him and Steph can continue to work together. Like they're the Splash Bros. I bet their chemistry is still going to be off the charts. But that team is almost 100% different from where it was when Clay played on it last with KD and the
Oh,
finals.
absolutely. I mean, and Clay coming back will definitely take some of that pressure off of Steph. I mean, he's been shooting so many threes, which I mean, his numbers have been down a little bit just because considering, the record, all of that weighing on him. And he just takes a lot of shots just because they need him to.
Yeah, when Clay's able to come back, it's going to mix up the league too because everybody's like, you game plan for teams a little bit. In the NBA, you game plan a little bit less because it's just such a quick turnaround. But you're
Yeah.
still deciding how you pregame. You're like, okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. You're gonna guard him. I'm gonna guard him. And Clay coming back, that completely changes how people are gonna have to play Golden State, and it's gonna be a good mix up for them to get like 30, 35 games into the season.
Yeah, for sure. And, Steve Kerr, it just has such a good defensive mindset. I mean, the Warriors are the number one team on defense. And they're just so good on defense. Adding Klay Thompson to the mix is just going to make them even better defensively. And, everybody knows his offensive game is off the charts. So, I mean, they're just going to be the team to beat this year, in my opinion, even though they're second in the West now behind the Suns. It's just going to be,
Yeah,
it's
I
going
know
to be
you're a big
interesting.
Golden State fan. So you think Golden State's gonna win the West this year?
I certainly think down the stretch, once they have, Clay back in the mix and their chemistry is back together as it once was, I definitely think that they'll probably make it this year. And the only big opponent they have is probably Phoenix, and Devin Booker's out right now. I mean, once he gets back, they'll be probably fine down the stretch. But I still think Golden State would beat Phoenix in a 7-game series if it came
Oh,
down to that.
yeah, I'd agree with that. But you know who you can't rule out is the Showtime Lakers.
The
The
Showtime Lakers.
Showtime Lakers.
I mean, you can't be blind to see that they're playing pretty poorly right now. But I mean, it's LeBron James, and down the stretch, I mean, if everyone's healthy, they'll definitely make a run. I don't. The West is just such a powerhouse.
Yeah,
I
here's my
mean,
thing with the Lakers. If Anthony Davis last night, he had the ankle injury in the first quarter, knee injury in the third quarter.
yeah,
They have a better point differential when Russell Westbrook is on the floor compared to when AD is on the floor. There's been some hate revolving around Westbrook this year. I think Westbrook's fitting in great with the Lakers. He's putting up a lot of points, and they needed another 20, 25-point scorer. If you have LeBron, if AD is able to get healthy, and you have
yeah.
LeBron scoring, averaging 25, Russell Westbrook averaging 22, 23, AD averaging 20 to 25, and then you have Melo putting up 14 to 15 with all the three-point shooters they have. It's really just going to come down to if they're healthy.
Yeah, Melo was definitely a great ad for sure. Getting those, I mean, he's just a great catch and shoot 3-point shooter, and that's exactly what the Lakers needed. They needed shooters, which I felt was kind of the controversy around adding Russell Westbrook because, I mean, what has Russell Westbrook been? He's just an absolute stat monster, and that's what he was with the Thunder with no other superstar and the Wizards. I mean, he's just a drive to the basket every single time type of player, and I just didn't feel like that would really work with the Lakers. But I mean, he's starting to get it together in terms of chemistry with the team. His assist numbers are about to be back up to where they were, and he's playing a lot better. I just think the overall chemistry of the Lakers has been down. The three big stars, LeBron, AD, and Russ. I just don't know how they're going to look down the stretch and how their chemistry is going to be. If come the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you. It's going to be interesting to see. And now they have Isaiah Thomas. He came in last night, 19 points in 21 minutes. I was very
Yeah, he's a
excited to see
great
IT.
ad. I mean, and it was insane that he was in the G League. I mean, he's in the G League putting
Dude,
up 40 points.
he was playing overseas.
I know. Like,
Like,
it's
it's
just
insane. I
crazy.
feel terrible for what happened to him going from Boston, his sister dying, getting traded to Cleveland.
Yeah.
LeBron hated him in Cleveland. That's why I'm surprised IT's back, because didn't LeBron hate IT?
Yeah, there was a lot of controversy in the media revolving around them too. But I mean, I think at this point LeBron doesn't really care about that crap. He just wants to form a team that he can do something with down the stretch.
Le GM.
Le GM.
Le GM. Dude, he is insane. I know
I
you're
mean,
a hater. I know you're a hater.
well, I am a LeBron hater, I will admit, but there's not a point in, you have to admit LeBron's one of the greatest ever to
It's
do it.
just my thing is watching him now in the playoff games he's played. He has added an extra 3 seasons onto his career. So he's in year 17. Technically, he's played 20 seasons worth of basketball, and he's averaged 25 points per game for all of them.
Yeah, he's offensively, he's been shooting a lot more threes. He's been shooting a lot more shots, and that's the kind of the player he's turned into because he's just not that LeBron anymore, where you can just drive to the paint with a
Yeah, he's
massive,
not.
the
It's
the
more of
mi-
a
the
mental
massive
game
body
now.
massive. Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's gotten a lot older. He's 36 years old. You can't tire himself out every game just driving himself to the basket.
He's just trying to get to the point where Bronny gets in, and then he can play with Bronny a year, and then he'll retire.
That definitely would be interesting
Dude,
to
no, when
see.
that's going to his contract with the Lakers, because he restructured his contract during the summer. His contract ends the year Bronny has the first eligibility for the NBA. He
That would definitely be pretty insane to see them
he
play
has
together.
said the amount of times he said no bigger accomplishment would be than the playing alongside my son, even if they don't play against with each other. Imagine playing against
Yeah, that would be even more interesting, honestly.
LeBron James versus LeBron James Jr. LeBron Jr.
Oh my
God.
goodness.
Yeah, that would be insane. And jumping over to the Eastern Conference,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts with the Nets and Kyrie? Kyrie was cleared yesterday to be able to travel with the team and be able to play in their games outside of New York. New York has a vaccine mandate and will not allow
Mhm.
Kyrie to play unless he gets the vaccine, will allow him to play in New York. Originally, before the season, Brooklyn said you will not be a part of this team. But yesterday, they were up to 8 players on their COVID list, so they brought Kyrie in for road games, and now Kyrie is already on the
Yeah,
COVID
it's
list.
COVID. Yeah, it's very, very unfortunate to see, but I mean, I like Kyrie Irving. It'll be cool to see him back. He'll definitely be a big add to the Nets. I mean, the Nets were just such an offensive powerhouse when all three of them were playing really well together. And I mean, he won't be playing every game, but he definitely will be a help down the stretch during away games.
Yeah, I agree with you. Sorry. Kyrie will definitely be a big help. It's if it gets to the playoffs and Kyrie is playing, how is Kyrie gonna only play in away road games for the playoffs?
Well, I mean,
Imagine the
the NBA
Brooklyn
playoffs
Nets.
is a 4-game win, so I mean,
Imagine the Brooklyn Nets make it to the championship. They have the 1 seed, okay? It is tied 3-3, game 7 in Brooklyn. Kyrie just put up a 50-point triple-double at
yeah,
Golden State.
That'll be the
And
controversy
now
of it.
everybody's going to go, wait, Kyrie Irving just put up a 50-point triple-double at Golden State, and now he can't play. And then if the Nets win the championship, Kyrie's not even there.
Yeah, and it's just going to be really interesting to see down the stretch. How he comes back with the team. Only playing away games. But I'm honestly just glad to see that he's come back because he's just such
Yeah.
a great player.
He's a great player for the game. He adds a lot to the game, so I think it's going to be good for him to be back. And it adds another storyline. The NBA, it's one of the biggest leagues, especially with the social media presence they have, and just the amount of
Oh yeah.
storylines that they create. It's great. It's good for the league seeing Kyrie Irving come back.
Yeah, and in terms of the East, our powerhouses are, Brooklyn, Milwaukee, Philadelphia, and Atlanta, in my opinion. I feel like those are the four biggest powerhouses, and those will definitely come down to the stretch against each other.
Oh, dude, I get to see Atlanta at the Hornets
Oh, really?
in
That's
March.
awesome,
Yeah, I
man.
think it's March 12th. I'm super excited to see Trae Young.
Trae Young's been balling out this season.
Trae
I will
Young's
definitely
so good.
say that.
Him and LaMelo, I want to see LaMelo ball too.
Yeah, LaMelo's finally back after being on the COVID list, but he's been
Facts.
having a phenomenal year.
I love LaMelo Ball.
Yeah, he's been great for the Hornets. Along with Miles have been a great duo.
So, time to bring up another NBA disappointment. Zion Williamson.
Yeah,
He's
that's
sitting
a
at
toughie.
what we see earlier when we were looking this stuff up, 317 pounds.
317 pounds.
That's
It's just going to be
6'6".
insane.
Bro, his knee, he can't play the game of basketball.
He really can't, and especially at that type of weight when you just can't get physically healthy.
No, okay,
It's
so Charles Barkley talked about this. When Charles Barkley came into the league, he was severely overweight. And he had this older guy on the team. I'm sorry. I don't remember the story real well, so I don't remember the guy's name. But the older guy, he was the center, and he used to be rather large. And Barkley was saying, I don't know how to get down weight. I don't know how to get down weight. And the guy helped him. Need to take down 5 pounds. I think it was every week, 5 pounds every other week, something like that. And Charles Barkley slowly got thinner. And if you look at his stats over the years, as Charles Barkley got more in shape, he naturally got better. Zion, people were already calling him overweight a little bit at Duke. But now
yeah.
he is literally fat. His chin, you look at his
Yeah, he
chin, you
went
look
from
at his
stout,
throat,
like dominating the paint, to just overweight at this point.
and he can't, you look at Shaq's numbers. Shaq has an extra 7 inches on Zion.
On Zion, yeah.
And for each of those inches, it take away a pound. Zion is 7 pounds less than what Shaq is. It's ridiculous.
Crazy.
Like, Zion can't be playing at that weight. And at this point, I don't know how he's going to get back, especially during the middle of the season. Like, it's not something that he's going to be able to fix overnight. He's not James Harden. He can't lose 30 pounds in a night.
Yeah.
And then put it back on 2 hours later.
Yeah, at the club.
James Harden's a funny dude.
He really is.
Especially with Houston. He did not give 2 shits when he was those last little bit in Houston.
No, he really didn't. He was pretty much doing anything within his power to get out of there.
Yeah.